Hey guys, welcome to LockyPocky Reviews, and I just got back from seeing the newest James Bond film starring Daniel Craig, No Time to Die. Apologize, this video has taken a bit longer than I thought it would originally, but this is one of those movies where I really had to sort of think about it for a bit before doing the review. So yeah, I talk about that a bit. But I guess I'll really just quickly just go through my thoughts on the previous Daniel Craig films, just real bullet points. The first one, which was Casino Royale, I really like. It's probably would be within my top 5 favorite James Bond films of all, overall. The next one then, Quantum of Solace, I wasn't a huge fan of. I personally thought the editing was very, Jason Bourne, it was very fast and shaky and it didn't really match Bond to me, and plot-wise it was just really complicated and I just did not like it. Skyfall, which is the third one, some people might find this weird, but this is actually my personal favorite Bond film of all of them. I think the action is fantastic. The cinematography, Roger Deakins cinematography, is gorgeous to look at. It's oh my god, it's so beautiful. Just some of the still shots you could have as a painting or something. But it's just such a great and story-wise as well, it's fantastic, and yeah, great, perfect, pretty much movie for me. And then the fourth one, which is Spectre, again, kind of not as bad as Quantum of Solace, but still wasn't one that I cared for too much either. I think some of the plot points, again, were a bit silly and stupid and didn't make much sense, but so it's overall the films, at least this far, have been very hit or miss for me. As I said, some of the highs are high, but the lows are kind of low as well. So going into this, I was kind of, I've seen the trailer, and watching the trailer, it looked like this was going to be, a really fun, just popcorn action movie, something just to really, just be entertaining, and especially because we have, with COVID, movies have kind of been going on and off. I was just excited just to go in, have a good time, and it's good. I will say it is definitely a good movie, but it was definitely not what I was expecting at all. So, and I think the best way I can really sum this movie up is that I feel like some people might take this the wrong way, but this is kind of, to me at least, is kind of like The Last Jedi of the Bond films, and I'll explain what I mean by that. What I mean is that this is a film that takes a lot of pretty big, significant, decisions, plot decisions, story decisions, that I think that are are very much against the typical Bond formula. I won't say what those are, because obviously I don't want to ruin the movie for you, but there are and it isn't there are many things, not just one or maybe two, maybe 4, 5, 6 even. There's several pretty big things that happen, and it's one of those things where, I think most critics will probably like it because it's different, it's new, it's taking the story in a different direction, all that stuff, yay. But in terms of what the fans, at least Bond fans that have watched all the movies like I have and stuff like that, it's gonna it really is going to be either you love it or you hate it. It's gonna really split people down the middle. And I'm general audiences, I mean, I guess they'll enjoy it, but it'd probably be like, okay, like, this is, maybe a bit different to the other previous Craig films a little, I don't know, but I'd say for me, personally, like, as whether or not I loved it or hated it, it's tough to say. For the most part, I think I'm on board with most of the decisions that are being made, because I think it fits within the context of the story and the narrative well enough that I can go along with them. But there is one, and again, I can't say what it is, but there is one part of it, and it comes pretty much at the end. At the end of the movie, there's big thing that happens. And when that, basically, just to really give you an idea, like, when this movie came to that ending, and, the lights came up, the credits rolled, I was just kind of sitting there like, geez, like, okay, damn, like, wow, alright. It's just like, it was a lot to take in, and even still, I am contemplating what I think of it. Like, I still can't really say whether or not I like it or don't like it, because it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's one of those things where I feel like I need to watch it, maybe the second or even third time to really be able to evaluate it as a whole, within the story, whether it works or doesn't. Like, I can't say overall. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's like, it's a tough movie, at least for me to review. Just, yeah, there's a lot to unpack with it, but what I can say is that it's definitely a movie that, I feel like this movie is, especially among Bond fans, will be talked about for quite a while. And there's going to be lots of interesting discussions, a lot of different opinions on it. And I think that's going to be interesting. And like I said, I feel like I'll probably have to do another video once I've seen it the second or even third time to kind of re-review the movie and give my own, take. When I have a bit more clarity in terms of what I think about it. But with that said, as I said before, the things that some of the decisions that are made, I think really take the story an interesting direction. I'm not really giving this away because it is in the trailer, but one thing, for example, is the fact that we have the main Bond girl in this is a character that we had in the previous movie, Spectre, and Madeline Swan, and I really like what they do with her character. They made her, in Spectre, I didn't really think that she was that interesting person. Like, she just kind of was just another character there that was just a plot device to get Bond to the next point of the story. That was kind of it. But they make her a much more important part of it, and I thought that was really interesting. I liked how they interacted off each other, and I thought that was really good. It was something different. There's also a new agent that comes in. I won't say much more, but there's a new agent that comes in, as an MI6 person, and that the interactions that she has with Bond is also really interesting. And like, stuff like that, it just, it's one of those movies where it's, like I said, it's taking risks, it's taking some chances, but it still works within the context of the story. Because there's emotion behind it, it raises the stakes of the story and emotions and all that to make it feel more important and personal, so it works in that sense. And even if you just take out, that sort of stuff, and you're just looking, at action, stuff like that, the action is really well done. There's a lot of really fun, enjoyable scenes. easily probably the best scene in the whole movie is when Bond teams up with this young CIA agent, I think, named Paloma, who's played by Ana de Armas, and just the interaction between the two of them, the way that the action is shot and all staged and put together, like there's lots of nice, long takes and all this sort of stuff. It's so much fun. There's so many just awesome moments. There's a scene where like literally Bond has like an ashtray or something, and he literally just flings it out, and it just hits this guy on the back of the head, and he falls down, and then the take goes back to Bond, and he just picks up this martini, just drinks it, and puts it down. It's like, it's silly as all hell, but it's friggin' awesome to me. I'm just like, yes, this is what I want to see. And there's like another scene where like the two of them, him and the CIA agent, there's like shooting going on outside or something like that, and they're shooting, and then they go back into the hotel or whatever. They get like the bourbon or whiskey or scotch, whatever, pour themselves a glass, have a drink, and then go back out. It's like, that's just Bond. Like, that's just quintessential James Bond. Like, perfect. Yes, good job. Love it, love it, love it. Absolutely awesome. And there's several moments like that in the movie that are just like, yes, like you have nailed it on the head. And like you have a lot of the side characters. Like I said, a lot of the interactions with the characters is really fun. We have like all the MI6 regulars like Q and M and Tanner and all them, Moneypenny. They're all really interesting and have good interactions. The new agent, like I said before, Madeline Swan. Like Felix Leiter, he comes in for a bit, and that stuff's really great too. Like, it's just all really good interactions, and even some of the villains' henchmen as well. Like, there's this Russian scientist guy. I can't really say much about this character, but I'll just say at the end he gets swashed by a car. If you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. And this guy that has the main one, which has like this bionic eye or whatever, like all of them are really fun, memorable, and really enjoyable to watch. Like it's really, really solid stuff. And like I said, I think for the most part, this is a very fun, enjoyable movie when it's like doing that sort of stuff. When it's doing, when it gets sort of more towards the end, it starts to get a bit iffy, but anyway. But for the most part, it's like a fun, entertaining movie. Good story, good character stuff, good across the board. In terms of, I guess, the weaknesses of it, like things that I, other than what I already mentioned, I suppose I guess kind of linking back to what I said at the beginning, I feel like this movie would have worked a lot better had it maybe just focused on one or two of those sort of big things, just to make it feel a bit more streamlined and focused on just that, as those aspects. Because I feel like, I don't know, thinking about it more, it feels like there is just so much that happens in it that just kind of gets a bit overwhelming, maybe. I don't know, but that's... on reflection, it feels that way a little bit. But the main thing that I would say is an issue for me as well is the villain, as well, which is played by Rami Malek. And the sad thing about it is that honestly, there's actually a lot of good stuff with that character. Like in the opening scene, literally, it's the first scene of the movie. He's introduced, and he has like, if you've seen the trailer, there's like the mask or whatever, and he comes in, and it's like, it's almost something like out of a horror movie. It's chilling, haunting. It's like a really creepy scene. And like, that's like really good way of setting up the character. But then he sort of disappears. Like, he doesn't really show up again until maybe, I want to say like at least an hour, maybe even more, like an hour 15 or 20. Like it's a good big gap between those that appear, the first and second appearance. And so he appears the second time, has like maybe a 1 or 2 minute scene, and then there's probably another gap of about, I want to say 30 minutes maybe, 20, 30 minutes-ish. So, and then from then on, he becomes a bit more of a part of the movie. But that, to me, is a problem. Like, this is... Your villain basically isn't really a big, prominent part of the film until, like, almost 2 hours in. Which, for a movie that's almost... it's like I think it's 2 hours, 45 minutes. It's like the last third of the movie is where you have the villain. And, like... I wouldn't mind it so much if maybe it was like, it was all build up or something like, like something like, I don't know, like in Doctor No, where it's sort of, there's a lots of, like, you don't actually see him, but you hear the villain or something like that, or like, like in Jaws or something where you don't see the shark, but something like the impact of it is happening around the story, if that makes sense. But it's just like, no, like he literally just disappears pretty much, and has a few little things here and there, but not much until the end. And even when we get to the villain, like, he has this really cool lair. Like, it's one of, like, this is probably one of the best villain lairs we've seen. Like, we haven't really seen many villain lair stuff in more of the newer James Bond films for a while. Like, this is the kind of stuff you'd see in like the Connery films or something. It's like, it visually is just looks really cool, and there's lots of like cool like the design of it's really neat. And like I said, and but again, when he has to talk, and he has like this really raspy voice that sometimes is hard to understand, and he has like the burned face, which is neat, but it's like it's not really a very threatening or intimidating character, at least to me. And when they finally get to like the big I guess the big showdown, it's just kind of underwhelming and just doesn't really feel like, oh, like this is what it was building up to. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, like this is just some other person he has to fight, I guess, like Bond has to fight or something. So it just doesn't, it just didn't hit with me, really. But yeah, I don't know. It's not. I still will say it's not like the worst villain or anything, but it is a weak point of the movie. And even the backstory that has to, I'll mention this, the backstory that he has is like, as a good backstory, and we see that more his motivation is and all that, it's good, but again, it's just as a character, it's just not really that interesting, at least. Like I said, just for me personally, I didn't get into it that much, but I don't know, maybe others will. I've heard a lot of other people say the same things, so I feel like it might just be a sort of a general thing that most people agree on, but I don't know, those are probably the main issues I have with it. Overall, I'm going to give No Time to Die a 7 out of 10. I honestly probably would have given it an 8 out of 10 when I was like leaving the theater, but I think after some contemplation and stuff, I sort of rethought it and went, no, I think that's probably a bit more of a fair rating. But it is a good movie. And if I, do I recommend going to see it? I do recommend it. And, I do stand by that this is definitely, as I said before, with the Craig films being kind of hit or miss, this one I feel like is kind of, in the middle. Like, it's definitely, I would much rather watch this over Quantum of Solace and Spectre, but I don't think it's quite as good as Skyfall or Casino Royale either. So, it's kind of right in the middle there. But yeah, maybe, I don't know, a second viewing, maybe it will get better, it will get worse, I don't know. So I guess we'll wait and see. I will definitely put up, though, another video when I have seen it again, because I think there is a bit to unpack with it, and yeah, I might even do like a spoiler section when I do the second one as well, so I can talk a bit more about specifically what I didn't like, or, you know, do like, that kind of thing. But anyway, that's pretty much it. And yeah, well, I guess I'll see you guys in the next review whenever that happens. All good. Alright.